Welcome to the Reading for the Glory podcast. I'm your host, Zach Kendrick, editor of Reading for the Glory. Reading for the Glory exists to help followers of Jesus think biblically about books. For more information, please visit readingfortheglory.com. Today I'm here with our podcast editor, Chris Wheeler. Welcome to the Reading for the Glory podcast, Chris.
Hi, glad to be here.
Yeah, you're no stranger to Reading for the Glory, and we're glad to be launching this new podcast. We're sitting here recording our very first episode of our upcoming inaugural season of the Reading for the Glory podcast, and we just wanted to take a moment and give our listeners a sneak preview of what to look forward to in this inaugural season. Our first episode that we are working on is going to be a book discussion, not really just a book discussion, but just like a life discussion as well, between me and Chris on the life and ministry and the influence of the late Timothy Keller. And we are going to be basing our discussion of that episode around the new, I say new, it's probably close to a year old by now, the new Timothy Keller, His Spiritual and Intellectual Formation by Colin Hansen at the Gospel Coalition. So we're going to start our conversation there and then talk about his life and ministry and his books and his legacy and influence on our lives as well. So we're looking forward to that. But we also have a great lineup of guests scheduled, including authors such as Dr. William Varner, Lucy S.R. Austin, Drew Dick, and Karen Swallow Pryor. That's just to name a few that we have on the schedule so far. Many of our guests that we have lined up are first-time authors, and we think they're very much worth checking out. So we hope you'll join us. We've also got a few of the RFTG contributors that will be joining us for book discussions, as well as joining us for our new Authors You Should Know series to talk about writers that we think would be beneficial for our readers and listeners to know about. And so, Chris, if you had to describe the Reading for the Glory podcast in one word, how would you describe it?
I would say informative. There's a lot of people that I've never heard of until editing the podcast, and I'm really looking forward to taking a deeper dive into these people's lives and their books that just broaden my worldview.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I would say the same. A couple of these authors I've never heard of. You introduced me to a couple of them, Drew Dick in particular. Most of them I've heard just being around books and Reading for the Glory even before the podcast. So I've been familiar with most of the guests that we have lined up. Some of them are personal friends, authors that I go to church with. But yeah, that's true. I hope it is informative. I would say incredible if I had to pick a word, just because I'm just amazed by how many of these authors, like I said, some of them aren't well known, but a couple of them do have a big following, or at least within Christian culture, and they're taking a chance on a first-time podcast. So thankful for that. So what would you say you're most looking forward to in the upcoming season?
Definitely the Karen Swallow Pryor interview. You introduced me to her just a few weeks ago when you told me that we booked her. And I was like, oh, cool, another person. I didn't know how influential she has been to the Christian community. So really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, me too. February can't get here fast enough. But yeah, I think just all of our guests looking forward to. We're going to be talking about everything from Bible translation with the Bible publisher from Thomas Nelson Bibles, to we have a couple seminary professors who have theology works, to biographers. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about the entire season that we have. We invite you to join us. The new season kicks off January 11th. And that's the inaugural season of the Reading for the Glory podcast. You can find us on all major podcast platforms such as Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. And you may even get them elsewhere. So wherever you get your podcasts, we should be there. Also, be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so that you don't miss an episode, particularly the first one that we're launching in January. And we'd also appreciate it if you would leave us a review. That would help us out tremendously. We just look forward to having each of you join us in January as we think biblically about books.